afternoon to you and welcome to Hard Factor 90.3 Nigeria Info in Herringport Harcourt. I'm Dayo. It's 10 minutes gone past 3 p.m. It's the midweek edition of the show. It's Wednesday. Wednesday is midweek after all. And I hope the week so far has been good for you and things are looking up. And once again, welcome to the midweek edition. One of the reasons I particularly like the midweek edition, the Wednesday version of Hard Fact, is between 4 and 5 p.m. and we've been doing that for about 4 years now. We spend time to talk about the Niger Delta region and ways that we can improve ourselves as individuals in the Niger Delta region, especially those of us of the Niger Delta region. And by individually developing ourselves, collectively we develop not just ourselves, but the region as well. And that conversation comes up every Wednesday between 4 and 5 p.m. on the program called Canvas the Niger Delta Roundtable, sponsored by SPDC. And that comes up between 4 and 5. We're having another conversation on that today as usual. And that's besides the several other progressive discussions that we have on the station and on the show especially. And today, I very much hope that we're going to have discussions along these lines as well. Welcome once again. From now till 7, we keep the discussion going. 7 o'clock, it comes to an end officially. A sports gang will be in by then for extra time. So let's see, on the show today, we got side comments coming up, random stories, random thoughts of mine, which will not be discussed now. Please remember that, for heaven's sake. Okay, until much later on during the open season segment, which comes up after the major news at 6 p.m. So after the side comments, I do have a rant coming up. I'll be expressing some thoughts on my mind. You can express your thoughts of mine till 4 p.m. Now, 4, we've got the business news coming up, and as I did mention earlier on, today is another Wednesday, and as such, we'll be having the program Canvas, the Niger Delta Roundtable coming up. Absolutely so. And today, on the show, as usual, we're discussing a very important matter, managing yourself to success with available resources. Managing yourself to success with available resources. I'll be having 2 guests with me on the show today, Dr. Daniel Uchechukwu Denax and Miss Gbokuma Ilodepe are going to be my guests on the show today. We'll be sharing some of their experiences as to how they were able to manage themselves to success with resources available to them. Not that they had everything they wanted or even needed, but they were able to utilize what was at the disposal to creating some success story. And you can learn a thing or two from the experiences. So join us in the 4 o'clock hour for that conversation after the business news. Taking us to 5, we've got the news update at 5 p.m. And after that, let's see what comes up next. Finally, federal government to fuel police vehicles. Yep. Now this is a fantastic reason for Thanksgiving services, in my opinion. You know how that we like to go for Thanksgiving services for everything. This definitely is a very good reason. You can find details in several dailies, but let's go with the one from the cable. FG approves 4 billion naira for fueling of police vehicles, first time in the history of the force. Now here's a bit of the story. Mohammed Dingia, the Minister of Police Affairs, disclosed this at the National Institute of Police Studies on Tuesday. Dingia said the amount will cover expenditure on fuel supply to police commands in the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. He said the amount approved for the fueling in the 2021 budget was the first in the history of the police, adding that the ministry will sustain the gesture. Quoting the minister now. The ministry is deeply grateful to Mr. President, deeply grateful to Mr. President and the National Assembly for approving funds for the supply of fuel to the 36 states police commands across the country and FCT to increase their efficiency. Also, quote, as we speak, the Police Trust Fund has awarded contracts for the supply of more operational vehicles, body protection vests, helmets, arms and ammunition, drugs and medical equipment and other critical security hardware, end of quote. The minister pledged the commitment of the ministry to prioritize the training and development of police officers. And he said the ministry, in conjunction with the leadership of the police, has developed strategies to meet the training and development needs of police officers. As part of efforts to increase police efficiency and cater to the welfare of officers, President Buhari in 2018 approved an enhanced salary structure for the Nigeria Police Force. And following the hashtag #EndSARS protest in October 2020, Buhari also directed the National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission to finalize the new salary structure for members of the force. Now, this directive was in line with one of the demands of the protesters, which called for an upward review of salaries of officers in a bid to curb police brutality and harassment. So we'll look at this in the 5 o'clock hour. Amongst other things, I'm asking, how has the federal government expected the police vehicles to be filled before now? If this is the first time, according to the Minister of Police Affairs, Muhammad Dingyadi, if this is the first time the police is allocating funds for fueling police vehicles, so once again, the question that comes to my mind automatically is, how did the federal government expect police vehicles to have been filled before now? This and other related matters we'll look at in the 5 o'clock hour after the news update. Headlines 5:30 p.m., major news at 6, open season afterwards till about 7 when we wrap up the show today. So that pretty much is today's show. Any changes you will find out as long as you stay tuned. So we'll keep the ball rolling right now with today's side comments, random stories and random thoughts that I came across as I checked out the news today. Let's see. And just a reminder once again that these side comments will not be discussed at this time. Let's start with something from the home scene, from Rivers State, that is. Where is that? It's here somewhere. 2 years, this was from our news from our bulletin earlier today, this morning actually. Now, 2 years after the Rivers State government declared free education in state primary and secondary schools, some people still sit on the floor to learn due to lack of desks and chairs. Our correspondent who visited one of such classrooms in community primary school at Mako Igbodo in Eche local government area reports that the children use broken blocks stacked together as desks and chairs. The classrooms were leaking without windows and doors. Residents of the area expressed sadness at the state of the school. Let's hear what some of these residents had to say about the situation, the schools in which their children attend.
Our community built that school. We don't call government tire. That school building, nothing there again. No chair.
The people where they down there, they run for grants. No zinc. Yeah, they run the phone. They fall for the body for the children.
Children learning there, you pity them. Under rain, sun, there is no seat, nothing in the school. In short, we don't think we have government again.
We need a change. We need someone to come and build the primary school very well for us.
We have write many letters to Minister of Education, to board, nothing, no response. The condition of the school is very, very poor in this present generation. In terms of infrastructure, especially this summer, we need them to come and rescue our children. Even there's no more teachers in that school.
Now, that's the state, that is the condition in which some pupils in Rivers that are attending schools. And I imagine that somebody is saying right now that isn't that how some schools are in Lagos also. To that person or persons, I say congratulations. However, it's terrible that anybody anywhere, and especially here in Rivers State, has to get what some will call an education under those circumstances, because I'm sure that a lot of things are going on in that environment, but there is no teaching learning experience going on there, and those children are getting many things, but I doubt very strongly that they are getting an education. However, our correspondent also learned that the Eche local government chairman, Obin Ayamu, is constructing classroom block in nearby Igbodo community. Okay, I hope that sees the light of day sometime soon. It will be nice to what's the word now? Is it commission? Yeah, to commission this classroom block. Hopefully that happens soon, and hopefully they do have furniture. They have chairs, they have tables. The students can sit on and write on, and they have and the classrooms come with windows and they come with roofs as well and ceilings, hopefully. Also, a stakeholder in Eche local government, Lofdale Kere, has revealed there are more schools in Eche where school children sit on the floor to learn. Mr. Kere made this known while reacting to a recent report by Nigeria Info, which showed how pupils resort to the use of broken blocks as desks and chairs in community primary school at Mako Igbodo in Eche local government area. He further urged the government not to view the report as political, but act on fixing the situation in Eche. Let's also hear what he had to say.
At least, if possible, they should send their team of supervisors to go and verify and confirm if most of the things people are saying are true and correct about the nature of our schools, especially in rural areas. The standard should not be the schools in Port Harcourt. The schools in rural areas, majority of the people are studying under the mango trees and guava trees. So please, the River State government must do something about that, because that is where academic studies, the foundations are laid. It is in the primary school.
Absolutely, absolutely, and one cannot overemphasize that. Now, the part of the story where he urged the government not to view the report as political, for me, always gets to me every time. How that when shortcomings or deficits in society, in whatever area, are highlighted or discussed, the automatic response of people in government and supporters of people in government is that it is politically motivated. So the question I want to ask right now is it the opposition that compelled this? Did the opposition go to that school to steal the roofs? Did the opposition go there to strip the windows bare? Did the opposition go there to steal the chairs and the desks and the furniture? Did the opposition go to those schools where they learn under mango trees to hurriedly grow mango trees and force the students or the people to sit under those mango trees? Because I'm just wondering right now. And like you rightly said, the foundation starts with education, especially at the primary level, or what we now refer to as the basic level. The reason River State, what's that school again? Can someone remind me, please, via WhatsApp? The school that had to ask their first-class graduates to write another test because they're not sure that their own first-class graduates deserve to get first-class graduates. What's that school again? Via WhatsApp, please. The number is 0809-030-6416. Remember that school? In River State here, a tertiary institution. Some of their students reportedly bagged first-class degrees, but the school is not even sure that their students should get a first-class degree, so they have to give them another test. Okay, let me wait for another response. Okay, yeah, thank you. Ignatius Ajuru, that's the one. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's the one. Now, the reason Ignatius Ajuru University in River State here is not sure that their first-class graduates deserve first-class graduates, and every time I make that statement, it sounds even more ridiculous. The reason that can happen is because in many of our schools, children sit down on blocks and they write on blocks. That's the reason. That's the reason. Because they learned nothing. They learned nothing, but we pushed them from there to some secondary school. They learned nothing there also, and somehow, some way, they found themselves in Ignatius Ajuru University. And after, and they don't come out with first-class degrees, and the school is wondering, how did they do it? How did they pass through this process and get a first-class degree? And the school that is supposed to award the first-class degrees to them is saying, no. You that we know. How did you get it? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I've said severally, when I still used to remind His Excellency of things, which I've stopped doing now, for a number of reasons. Flyovers are good. Flyovers are very good. And I know every government has a priority. You can't do everything. You have to focus on certain things. But education must be a priority for every government every time, because it is the basis, it is the foundation for everything. So let's focus some attention on education. And by focus attention on education, the Ministry of Education in Rivers State must realize that focusing attention on education in Rivers State is not just chasing private schools as to when resumption date is and when closing date is, because that's the only time you ever hear anything meaningful these days from the Rivers State Ministry of Education. How that we're going to clamp down on private schools. There is a set closing date. If you close before, we'll clamp down. We send monitors to go and clamp down. Are those monitors or those investigators, aren't they going to those schools where they are sitting down on blocks and writing on blocks? Don't they see those ones? Only clamping down on private schools that are closing and resuming earlier or later, as the case may be, than the government designated dates for opening and shutting down the schools or the school calendar. So let's pay some attention to what's going on. Let's pay some attention, Your Excellency. Flyovers are good. Flyovers are not terrible. They will help us get between Jerry Junction and water lines, maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes faster, or 2 minutes. But education will take us to a future where those flyovers will no longer be needed. Those flyovers will be pulled down eventually because we will not require them. And for us to be able to compete in that future, we need to educate our children now. Prepare them for that future. Sitting down on blocks and to write under mango trees is not preparing them for anything. Oh, someone says, I'm interested in knowing the reason you resigned your office as the SSC and remained His Excellency. Well, a number of reasons, one of which was I was told it was boring, so anyways, that's a different matter entirely. But moving on right now to something else that may have caught my attention on the news earlier today. The federal government has summoned the Indonesian ambassador to Nigeria, Usra Harahap, over the alleged assault on the Nigerian diplomat in Jakarta, Indonesia on Tuesday. Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Niema said the incident is against international law and the Vienna Convention governing diplomatic and consular relations between states. He said the Nigerian government will review its relations with Indonesia. Let's hear what the minister had to say about that development. Just a moment, and here we are.
Even if it had taken place against any Nigerian citizen, it was totally unacceptable. So what we have decided to do is we will have full consultation and decide what next steps to take, including a review of our relations with Indonesia. We have also requested the Indonesian government to take severe and appropriate sanctions against the immigration officials that were involved in this act of brazen criminality.
Obviously, if you've seen that video, it's most unfortunate what those Indonesian officials did today. Like the minister said, it doesn't matter whether it's a diplomat or not. No Nigerian citizen should have to be treated that way. I mean, even if you committed a crime, I don't think that's how that person should have been treated. But in this case, the circumstances are totally different. It will be interesting to see how the Nigerian government responds to this. Responses are on already, but time will tell. I'll leave it at that. Let's see what happens eventually. Now, they said they want the immigration officers involved to be sanctioned. Let's wait to see what happens with that situation. But I do hope that they make a strong, not just strong statement, but even action-wise. I really hope so. And back to Rivers State, where the Rivers State House of Assembly has passed into the Child's Right Amendment Bill 2021, as well as a bill seeking to rename Produce House, Waterlands House, Old About Road, Liberation Stadium, some other roads, George's Quarters, and blah blah. I'm not really concerned about who or what gets named what. I'm not sure that has any particular impact in people's lives, but I'm concerned about the law, the Child's Right Amendment Bill 2021. I hope that it's not just some fancy sounding amendment that's worth nothing more than the paper on which it is printed on. I hope that we will see some impact as far as protecting the rights of children in Rivers State, and hopefully it will serve as a template for protecting the rights of children all over the country as well. Very much looking forward to that. And also, the Speaker tasked the House Committee on Anti-Open Grazing Bill 2021, returning the report as soon as possible. We're waiting to see how that will go as well. So I think I'll wrap up the side comments on that note. I'll go for a break now, and when I return, we delve into today's rant to the police station. I'll be right back in a bit.
Information is a two-way thing. Nigeria Info, it's your turn. Let's talk.
We connect you to the world. We connect you to the vicinity. We are Nigeria Info.
Listen to me. I said this is a real situation and the government has to do something about it. You try to insinuate all these people looting Nigeria's money?
This is Nigeria Info in the heart of Nigeria. 92.3. We are Nigeria Info.
And now, Hard Facts. Hard Facts with Dio.
Okay, Mark, it is Hard Facts to 90.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. And I'd like to rant for just a bit. I've got something in my mind. I'd like to express some thoughts on it, and you're very welcome to express your thoughts and mine all the way till 4 p.m. Now, a few things before I delve into today's rant proper, even though I have started already, but a few things. Something in particular made me decide, or helped me decide, to do today's rant. Now, earlier today, I was checking out the news online, what's going on, as is prone to happen. Lots of people think that the job actually starts at 3 p.m. or when the microphone comes on. No, the job starts hours. In fact, for me especially, the job starts once I wake up. You know, you have to check the news, what's going on, who's doing what. So I was checking as usual this morning, and I came across an article in the Daily Post that's captioned, "A family of Osun motorcyclists killed by policeman demand justice 13 days after." And I read the story. And it's a very sad story, very unfortunate situation, but quite common as well. Quite familiar. It's a familiar tale, really, of police extrajudicial killings, or police killings, or police harassment. Well, let's just stick with killings for now, you know. And it reminded me again. I mean, we know this all too well. I mean, how many instances have we had to discuss, or are we aware of? You know, what have we heard of? Or have we been involved with or concerned with directly or indirectly? Too many, actually. So it just serves as a reminder again that the police in Nigeria still kill people extrajudicially. They still do that. It does happen. Because I've had several, and in case you're wondering, my rant today has to do with an encounter with officers of the Nigeria Police Force. And I have to say this once again, or say this as well. I have had several encounters with the police, not palatable encounters. I do not talk about these experiences most of the time. In fact, I don't talk about them really, because it shouldn't be about me. You know, my show, or the opportunity or privilege that I have having a microphone in front of me, and you can get to listen to me almost every day, is not to serve my personal interest or my personal purposes. No, it's to serve. I have a responsibility not to myself, but the responsibility is to society. And that's why, even though I've had several experiences and encounters with the police, once again, most of them not palatable, I don't bring them to the fore. No, not really. But once again, on Monday I had an encounter, and I thought about it. In fact, I decided I was not going to discuss it or bring it on air. And then I saw the story earlier today, and I decided, hey, why not? Now, for those of you who are following online, if you're following online, you may have seen, I'd like to be sure about, okay, yes. So today's rant is captioned, "I may be killed by the police." Now, I also need to say this very clearly. I am not in any way suggesting that there is any plan, and this is very important and a very important note. This is not an attempt to grandstand like, for example, our politicians do. When the Nigerian Honorable Excellency knows he's done something wrong, and he suspects that maybe the police are coming for him, or the EFCC are coming for him, or something like that, they immediately release a statement saying that they have got intelligence reports that the opposition or the ruling party has concocted lies and deceitful lies against them. The opposition has fabricated stories to tarnish their good image because they know they've probably done something wrong and they're going to be arrested or picked up soon. So this is not thereby grandstanding. This is not an attempt to grandstand. No, it's not. And I must state also, don't mind my long preamble, pardon me, that I actually fear as well for the comments I'm about to make. Not fear as to what repercussions there might be. I'm not afraid of that. But I don't want my life to end anytime soon. I really don't. I don't want there to be some tragic headline of how young broadcast journalist, I like to think of myself as young, described his own death. No, because I know there are people throughout history, some of them famous, maybe some of them not so famous, who are reported to have described their own deaths. I very much hope I'm not doing that right now, because I want to live a long, fulfilling and satisfying life. There are many things that I want to do with my life that I haven't done yet. I look forward to doing those things. So I don't want to die anytime soon. Not to say I'm afraid of death. No, I'm not actually. Now that said, once again, forgive me for my very long preamble. So I had an encounter with the police on Monday. After work, I went out. And much later actually, a little late, Monday night, I was returning from my outing, and we encountered a police checkpoint along the road, just somewhere along, I think it was along NTA Road, yeah, I encountered the police checkpoint. So the police stopped the vehicle that I was in and asked us all to alight. I was in the vehicle with a couple of it was a taxi actually, and I was in the vehicle with a friend as well, and asked us to alight. And we did. The vehicle was checked. I'm not sure what they were checking for, but it was checked. And my friend was searched as well. And then the officer who was conducting the search requested to search me as well. And I asked the officer why he wanted to search me. Because I believe, and I know, it's not just a belief, I know that I am well within my rights to ask the officer that question. Now, he insisted on searching me, and I told him I had no problem with him doing that, but I would like to know why he wanted to search me. And I went on to explain to him that he needed to have reasonable grounds, some reasonable suspicion to want to search me. And I asked him what that suspicion was. What did he suspect me of? Why did he want to search me? And the officer got agitated. He got very angry, and he said he was going to get violent with me. And I asked him why he wanted to get violent with me, simply because I asked him why he wanted to search me. And then he asked who I was. But for me, this was after we'd gone back and forth with this. And for me, it wasn't an important question at that time. Maybe I should have told him, but I felt this was about, and my response to him was, I'm a Nigerian. Because I think that question should have come initially. If you stop people, I think to do is ask them to identify themselves, then you may now decide on the next course of action. How that officers of the Nigerian, when they become unnecessarily agitated. And so we were going on about this for a while, and then another officer, there were two of them standing by the vehicle. One wasn't paying, didn't seem like he was paying much attention. Then another officer came from across the road or close by. He just came, rushed towards us, and asked what was going on. And I presumed that he was the superior officer on duty. I presumed he was the more reasonable person on duty. And he asked what was going on. And I explained to him in a very calm, in a manner as calmly as I possibly could. I explained to him my experience with his colleague, how he stopped us, searched the other person, searched the vehicle. He asked to search me, and I simply asked him why. I would like to know why he wanted to search me. I did not say, and so he asked me, said, so the police cannot search you? The police cannot? And I said, no, the police can search me. The police has a right to search me, but I also have a right to know why the police wants to search me. If you give me a reasonable response, why not? You can go ahead and conduct your search. And this officer went on to threaten me as well, and was asking, he said several things. Several things were said, threats were uttered, and I said to them, I said, you know what, I'm not trying to antagonize you. I'm not trying to engage you in a fight. I just said, explain to me why. And you're the one shouting. I'm not getting violent with you. You're the one shouting, and you're the one with the gun, by the way. So if anyone should be level-headed here, it should be you. You're the one with the gun. You're the one in the uniform. You're the one with the authority here. But I have a right to know why you want to search me. And then the officer, who was quiet all the while, who wasn't saying very much, when again I was asked who I was, apparently he identified me, and he said, this is Dayo now. This is Dayo Elusakin of Nigeria Info. And I said, prior to that, the officer who wanted to get violence, the one who insisted on conducting the search, when I consistently or persistently asked him why he wanted to search me, told me to go and sit in their van, that he would show me today. I should go into the van. And I simply told my friend and the taxi to leave, and I was going to go sit in their van. Of course, the conversation continued. My friend was appealing that I shouldn't do that, and then this other officer identified me and said, oh, that's Dayo. And the guy asked me, are you Dayo? And I said, no. And I said, what does that have to do with anything? And he said, oh, so you are the one. That one that we did for Kofi is not enough. That one we did to Kofi is not enough. Now, if you might remember, Kofi Battels worked here for many years on 90.3 Nigeria Info. You might remember him from his days on Hard Facts here. I took over the show from him, and then he went on the Morning Crossfire, also ran that segment for some years before he left the station to other ventures. You might remember, whilst he was here, he had an unfortunate encounter with the police. I think they were officers of the now disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad, if I remember correctly. If that's wrong, I apologize. But it was some units of the police force. I think they were occupying where SARS occupied at that time. Maybe it was SARS, maybe not. And he was assaulted, brutally assaulted by the police, by the way, at that time. Last I remember, that matter was in court. I'm not certain right now as to the status of that matter, if it's still in court. But I know that Kofi took that matter to court. So, back to this incident. So the officer said, oh, so you're the one. You forgotten what we did to Kofi? We are going to do it to you also. We won't do worse. You have forgotten. And I said, well, you may have done what you did to Kofi, and that's fine, but it doesn't stop me from asking why you want to search me. And the point I'm making is, without, I hope I'm not boring you with this long story, but eventually, because my friend kept appealing, I gave in to the officers, and I took my phone out. He searched my pocket, searched both my pockets, searched my. In fact, went as far as pat. Okay, eventually he said, you are a criminal. That's why I want to search you. I said a criminal. Okay, fine. So I took my phone out. He searched my pockets, all my pockets. In fact, give me a complete pat down. Like I was maybe hiding something under my shirt or beneath my jeans or my underwear. Convinced that I was not hiding anything, they asked us to go, but still with threats, saying, oh, you can speak English. People don't know how the country is right now. We'll deal with you with this, we'll do that. And then we left, and I got to my destination. And from that moment till now, I have thought about it, how that night could have gone differently. We hear many reports of how, people go missing, or people are even killed Remember the story of the Uniport student who had to part with 150,000 naira for committing absolutely no crime. The only crime the student committed that day was encountering the police on the way, on the road. And I thought many things could have happened. And once again, because on identifying me, this officer proudly recounted an experience with a former colleague, Kofi Battels, and how they dealt with him, and how a similar treatment could have been that day, or maybe in the future will be meted out to me also. But the reason I am saying this is, regardless of what happened that night or any other night, I will not stop insisting or standing on my rights in the most calm, legitimate, and constitutional way, anyway, anywhere, anytime I encounter an officer of the Nigeria Police Force. Well, thankfully that night I was not physically assaulted, I was not shot or killed, but who knows what might happen any other night. I'm simply stating right now, and to our gallant officers out there, and I hope there are other Nigerians, other persons who will do that also, I hope so, but even if not, I will consistently, even at the threat of being shot, and that's happened more than once, by the way, I will consistently insist on my rights. And if an officer, I hope it doesn't happen, really, once again, there are many things I still want to accomplish in life. But even if it does happen, it does happen. And I just hope that if it does happen, and God, I can't believe I'm saying this, if it does happen, I hope that you will not become afraid because of that. I hope that you will also keep on insisting that the right thing be done in our country till one day, definitely, certainly, without, and I say this without a shadow of doubt, we will eventually get it right in this country. We will have effective and we will have responsible government. We will have a professional police force that will do their jobs the way they were designed to. I think that's my rant for today. Thank you very much for listening. I hope I didn't bore you. Any thoughts about Let's Hear It? Got some minutes to go before 4 p.m. Numbers are the same, lines are up, and we got 0817 923 0002 or 0003 or 0007. Live on facebook.com/Nigerian for PH. WhatsApp is on 0809 030 6416. Keep it brief and straight to the point. And once the call is answered, do please turn down the volume of your radio set. I've got some comments via Facebook already. Where's my WhatsApp? Okay. Let's start with the phone. I've got Tunde on the line. Hello, Tunde. You're welcome. Please go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Dara. Good afternoon.
Hi, go on, please.
Yeah, I just heard about that your story. The same thing just happened to me now. As I was driving, I want to turn at the front of the police station in Miniokoro. They stopped me. They said, why am I turning here? I think I've been turning here for long. And the other one with gone now stopped me. This is not the first time. There was a day at Shepard. They harassed me with my family. They said, this place I passed, I should not pass here. Because I asked them, what's wrong? There's no fun here. I don't know why Nigeria police, they are not civilized. They love to harass the citizens. But as you said, we will continue to insist on the right thing. I support your idea, and I will follow it up. Thank you.
You're welcome to I got Felix from Remo Dara. Hi, Felix. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon or good evening.
You're welcome.
Yes, I want to just relate a little experience I had just on Sunday. I was in Bayelsa. I was coming from South of Georgia getting to Yenagoa. At Swale, to be precise, I saw two NCDC people and officers and a police officer approaching in the market side, approaching one man. So I was just watching what he wants to do because the way he was pointing, one of them was pointing fingers at the man. I was just coming close slowly, and I saw him. Before I'm talking to you, he has slapped this man with a face, his just covered his whole face with slap. And after slapping him, the man was trying to talk. Maybe it's like the man was talking on his right. and the slap was going on like per second. He was slapping him. So I drove close by and I parked my car, went and I shouted at the officer, said, "Come, will you stop that? What has this man done that you slap him?" He said, when the look at the offense, that when I am talking, he is talking. That was the offense. That I am talking, he is talking. So I said, oh, that was an offense that would warrant a slap. He said, that's the only way I can keep him, make him to keep quiet. So I said, oh, so you slap a full-fledged human being that's an adult. If you are not having a gun or wearing a uniform, this man would have even been able to beat you or fight you. But because of your uniform and the gun you are carrying, he is respecting you. Yes, you are slapping a full-grown adult like this. So this is what we continue to see every day. And I believe that day, as I shouted and I talked to him, you know, sometimes especially in Bayelsa, not in River State, in Bayelsa, they used to be afraid of when they see a good car. So the car intimidated him a bit. So he decided to say, I don't know which one is the one now, government official. That, I believe that was even what slowed the neck. That's why he was responding to me that way. But it was a very ugly fight. And this is what people are putting, they have been put every day, in everyday life. Keep picking up, and you cannot even talk back to policeman.
Felix, right to have for me. Samuel from Anna George, hi, go ahead.
Yes, Dayo, good afternoon.
Hello, go on.
Yeah, Dayo, thank God for your life. Let me start with that. You see, what you just narrated is what millions of Nigerians pass through every moment. It's quite unfortunate that I don't know what we have in Nigeria is not really police. I think we should look for another name to brand that force. It's quite unfortunate. I don't know also if it is in this part of our country, especially in River State, that we have this kind of officers posted to. I don't know if it is also like this in other parts of the country. It's so unfortunate that those who are supposed to do their job professionally, what they are interested in is to, in fact, look for how to extort. If you see where they are collecting 50 naira compulsorily from keke drivers and all of that, you just pity the poor country, you know. So I don't know. We will continue to talk. Actually, we will continue to also believe that one day we will get the right people at the affairs of police. Absolutely. That's just my take. Let's continue to be careful. Let's continue to talk and preach, and one day we'll get it right. That's my take, Dayo. Have a nice time.
Welcome, Samuel. Someone via WhatsApp is going. I joined you right very late. Please, where can I go to listen to it again? I need to hear the full gist. During Twitter time, I would have gone to your Nigeria Info Twitter handle to listen to it again. That's Dan from Port Harcourt. Dan, you can watch the video on our Facebook page as well. We're live now, but the video will be on later on after the live broadcast. And also via WhatsApp, your story scares the hell out of me. That a police officer will know you're a journalist, threatens you, boast of what you did to another journalist proudly. In 21st century, let the judiciary help us by putting these men behind bars when there's need for it. Except the judiciary is equally afraid. Who knows? Emmanuel Uzodimma from Malaysia goes, this is quite touchy. I hope your presumption doesn't come to pass. We all enjoy our dear country alive. I very much hope so. There are many things, like I said, that I still like to do. I got David from D-Line. Hello, David. Go.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dayo.
All right, go on.
Your situation is not lesser than the situation of 9,000, if not millions of Nigerians living. And I've been an advocate that there should be an annual mental evaluation, psychiatric evaluation for men of the police force. And I specifically chose them because they are the only persons in the uniform who daily interact with the civilian populace. And knowing that these persons are family men who have family issues, may have mental issues also, which will lead to depression. They shouldn't be allowed to be on the uniform once they think that their mental status is below that which is standardly required. Because what the question is, what is there in telling one the reason for conducting a search on him? The Administration of Criminal Justice in Nigeria, why it allows for search warrants for a premise, it does not provide for search warrants for a person, but provides for reasonability in wanting to conduct a search. And that reasonability in wanting to conduct the search is nothing that is unusual. You just tell the person, just like our law provides in section 35, sub 4, that for you to be arrested by anybody, you must be told the reason for the arrest. For that policeman infringing on, otherwise it should be an infringement on your fundamental human rights against incarceration. Okay? Now, the question is, this very basic thing that is constitutionally provided for, the police do it? The answer is a no. Let's talk about that which is not provided for under our Administration of Criminal Justice. But this is something that is so basic standards, police standards world over. For you to explain to the person who you want to search the reason, the rationale behind that search. It's bizarre. It's bizarre.
Quite a bit. Good to hear from you as well. And thanks for your analysis, by the way. I like the whole legal angle, perspective you gave to it. Via WhatsApp, Dio, I don't usually agree with you, but one thing I can't take away from you, or any other human for that matter, is authenticity. Being yourself, even in the face of death. I really hope personally I can be able to attain such willpower during the course of my lifetime. Tony from Umokoro said that. Hello, Don. I'd like to add that it's best for one's health, especially mental health, to stand on your rights when you are accosted by police. When you stand up to them, your mind is at peace afterwards compared to when you let them walk all over you and extort from you, leaving your adrenaline rush. Blood pressure high and anger welling up inside you seeking escape, which can lead to transfer of aggression, road rage, etc. That's on BOB. I have to wrap this up right now. According to Goats and Girls, did you write your will? What can be so powerful, be it audio, video, or even in written format, to consider the police is not a friend or foe? No, and I said that at the start. I really hope that there's not going to be some headline, some month or I don't know, or time from now, saying, "Oh, journalist predicted his demise." I hope it doesn't happen. Once again, I want to live a very long, fulfilling, and satisfying life. But even if it does happen, the point I'm making to those officers, if they're listening right now, or any other officer that may encounter me on the road someday, I will ask you questions. I will insist that you do the right thing. I will stand on my right. I have a right to do that. It's up to you to determine how you are going to respond to it. I hope you do so professionally, but even if it doesn't happen, I will continue to do that. We've got the news coming up to about the hour at 4 p.m. Afterwards, Canvas and Adedayo Roundtable. Do please stay with us. Thanks for listening so far.